Tom Holland is one of the most successful actor of his generation. That isn't an opinion, it's just math. Because No Way Home didn't just make money, it made $1.9 billion. What the f? He has spent nearly a decade as the beating heart of the MCU, the boyish, lovable Peter Parker that the whole world wants to protect. But here's the uncomfortable, multi-million-dollar question Hollywood is starting to ask. Is Tom Holland a great actor or just a really good Spider-Man? Take away the suit, the web shooters, and the Marvel safety net, and who is he? Because outside the suit, something strange happens. Uncharted was a hit, but most people credited the brand, not the lead. Cherry was a dark, gritty swing that missed. The Crowded Room was supposed to be his Emmy moment, and yet it felt like the world collectively looked the other way. And Chaos Walking? Yeah, let's move on. Tom Holland keeps swinging for range. He's tried the grit, he's tried the trauma, he's tried the indie transformation, but the audience keeps sending the same message. We love Spider-Man, we're not sure about anything else. But that changes this year. In a move that has Hollywood executives sweating, Tom Holland is about to lead the two biggest movies of the year, back to back. On July 17th, he's Telemachus in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. 2 weeks later, he's Peter Parker in Spider-Man: Brand New Day. One is a bid for artistic immortality. The other is a billion-dollar insurance policy. By the end of the summer, we won't be guessing anymore. We'll know for certain if Tom Holland is the next DiCaprio or if he's just the world's most famous mascot. This is the breakdown of the Tom Holland paradox. Let's start with the truth that people forget. Tom Holland wasn't always Spider-Man, and before he put on the suit, he actually proved he could act. In 2012, when Tom was just 15 years old, he starred in The Impossible, a disaster film about the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. Directed by J.A. Bayona, this movie required Tom to do something most child actors can't pull off. He had to carry heavy, emotional scenes opposite Naomi Watts and Ewan McGregor. And he didn't just survive, he was genuinely good. There's this scene where Tom's character, Lucas, is separated from his family, injured, and trying to survive in the chaos. The fear on his face feels real. The desperation feels earned. He's not doing child actor acting. He's not overselling it. He's just present, raw, believable. Critics noticed. Tom was nominated for several awards, and people in the industry started paying attention. This wasn't just another cute kid in a movie. This was someone with actual talent. Then he did a few smaller projects. He played the lead in Billy Elliot the Musical on the West End in London for 2 years. Dancing, singing, acting 8 shows a week. That's not easy. That's discipline. That's craft. So when Marvel came knocking in 2016, it wasn't a random casting. It was a heist. They saw an actor with the range of a veteran and the energy of a gymnast. And let's be real, his debut in Civil War was flawless. He didn't just play Peter Parker, he was Peter Parker. He stole the shield, he stole the scene, and he stole the entire movie from the literal Avengers. He wasn't Toby's nerd or Andrew's skater. He was something new, something perfect. But that's where the trap was set. For the next 10 years, that perfection became a curse, because once you become the perfect Peter Parker, audiences stops letting you be anything else. From 2016 to 2021, Tom Holland became Spider-Man. Not just played him, became him. 3 solo movies, multiple Avengers appearances, he was everywhere, and people loved him. Spider-Man: Homecoming showed he could carry a solo movie. Spider-Man: Far From Home proved he could handle the pressure of being the face of the MCU post-Endgame. And Spider-Man: No Way Home became one of the highest-grossing films of all time. But here's the thing. Playing Spider-Man is not a test of range. Peter Parker is enthusiastic, awkward, and jokes when he's nervous. And guess what? So is Tom Holland. In every press junket, every TikTok, and every leaked spoiler, Tom is the same guy we see on screen. This isn't a diss, it's a masterclass in brand alignment. Like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man or Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, Tom found a role that fits him like a second skin. It's a rare skill to be that likable. But let's be honest, likability is not the same thing as range. Being the perfect fit means you don't have to transform, you just have to show up. And while that's great for the shareholders, it's a dead end for an artist. When you're cast for who you already are, the personality becomes the product. For 5 years, Tom was the golden boy of the MCU. He was the safe bet. But because he was so busy being the world's favorite teenager, he never actually got to grow up on screen. We didn't know if he could play a villain. We didn't know if he could play a father. We didn't even know if he could play serious. We just knew he could play Tom. And by 2022, the world was starting to get bored of the same routine. Tom knew it too. And that's when he decided to go to war with his own image. This is where Tom Holland's career gets complicated, because every time he's tried to step outside of Marvel, it's been rough. It started with a spark of hope. In 2020, he did The Devil All the Time. He played Arvin Russell, a boy raised in a cycle of backwoods violence. He was stoic, dangerous, and genuinely haunting. Critics actually loved him in this. For a second, it looked like Tom had figured out the blueprint. Go dark, go gritty, and let the boy next door image die. But then, the wheels came off. First, there was Chaos Walking, a sci-fi movie where Tom starred opposite Daisy Ridley. It was supposed to be a big franchise starter. Instead, it was a disaster. The movie was reshot multiple times, the studio had no idea what to do with it, and when it finally came out, it bombed. Critics hated it, audiences didn't care, and Tom's performance was fine, but forgettable. He wasn't bad, he just wasn't interesting. Then came Cherry in 2021, directed by the Russo brothers, the same guys who directed him in Avengers. This was supposed to be Tom's big dramatic turn. He played a war veteran struggling with PTSD and opioid addiction. He lost weight for the role, he went dark, he tried to show range. And honestly, the performance was solid. Tom committed. He showed he could do intense, broken characters. But the movie itself was a mess. Overlong, over-directed, trying way too hard to be artsy. And because the movie didn't connect with audiences, Tom's performance got lost in the shuffle. Critics acknowledged the effort, but nobody really cared. It came and went, and Tom went right back to being Spider-Man. Then, in 2023, Tom starred in The Crowded Room, an Apple TV Plus limited series where he played a man with dissociative identity disorder. This was supposed to be his Matthew McConaughey True Detective moment, his big, serious, Emmy-worthy performance. Instead, it was a slog. The show was slow, confusing, critics were mixed at best, and audiences didn't show up. It currently sits at a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes, and while Tom's performance was committed, it wasn't enough to save the show. Once again, the effort was there, but the execution, not so much. And then there's Uncharted in 2022, a video game adaptation where Tom played Nathan Drake. This was supposed to be his non-Marvel franchise, his Indiana Jones. And it made money, over $400 million worldwide. So commercially, it worked. But creatively, it was fine. Just fine. Tom was charming, he did the action scenes well, but the movie felt like a video game cutscene stretched into 2 hours, and Tom's performance didn't elevate it. He just showed up, did his thing, and collected a paycheck. So when you step back and look at Tom Holland's non-Marvel career, the pattern is clear. He's tried, he's taken risks, but nothing has really worked. Nothing has proven that he can be a movie star outside of Spider-Man. And that's a problem, because eventually, Spider-Man will end, and then what? Which brings us to 2025, and the biggest test of Tom Holland's career. Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. This is huge because Christopher Nolan doesn't cast actors who can't deliver. Actors who have range, who can handle complex material, who can disappear into roles. And now he's cast Tom Holland in an adaptation of one of the greatest stories ever told. This isn't a Peter Parker. This isn't a Nathan Drake. This is a role that requires gravitas, weight, maturity. Can Tom Holland pull that off? Honestly, we don't know yet. But this is his chance to prove he's more than Spider-Man. If he delivers in The Odyssey, if he holds his own in a Nolan epic, then the conversation changes. He's no longer just Spider-Man. He's a serious actor who can do anything. But if he doesn't, if the performance is fine but forgettable, if he gets overshadowed by the rest of the cast or the spectacle of the film, then the narrative becomes even harder to shake. That Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man, but outside of that, he's just average. The stakes have never been higher, and the entire industry is watching. So, is Tom Holland actually a good actor, or is he just Spider-Man? The truth is, he's an incredible actor who was born into the wrong era of Hollywood. In the 90s, he'd be the gritty lead of every mid-budget thriller. He's talented, he's dedicated, he's proven he can act when given the right material, but he's also stuck in a very specific lane. And until he breaks out of it, until he delivers a performance that makes people forget about Peter Parker, he's always going to be defined by that role. The Odyssey is his shot, his chance to rewrite the narrative, and honestly, I hope he pulls it off, because there's potential there. We've seen glimpses of it, but potential doesn't mean anything until you actually deliver. So what do you think? Is Tom Holland a great actor waiting to break out, or is he just the perfect Spider-Man who will never escape that shadow? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you're subscribed. I'll see you in the next one.